Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and I have Alyson Croft with me in person. Hey, Alyson.
Hi, Jeff.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Always good. Okay, so this is, I'm going to try to not do too long an introduction.
Okay.
But I feel like in the last year, we've got this kick-ass history.
Yeah.
Because last year, 2025 was like the year of Alyson Croft for the film festivals.
Thank you.
Because in June of 2025, you brought Jesus Loves Me to Filmvasion Los Angeles. And that's where we met. Great film. And I believe we even chatted by email in advance because your film resonates for me, obviously.
Thanks.
And we'll talk about what and why. But so that was awesome. And you took home the Programmer's Prize for Exceptional Filmmaking, which is also fun.
Yeah.
And I guess for fun, I will tell the whole story, which is there was a technical problem that with the film's sound that, not every sound mixer knows exactly what the theaters expect. So your dialogue, your wonderful film about a conversation between exes had no dialogue at the festival.
Yeah.
And then we got so fortunate, which is the theater gave us a free night.
Yeah.
Like 2 months later or a month later.
July.
Yeah. So like a month or like whatever. The following month, we got to do a makeup screening for your film and another.
Yeah. So
then I got to work with you then, and your film had dialogue, so I got to see it one more time on the big screen.
Yeah.
And what can I say? So I got to know you a little better, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then you came back. That was Filmvasion LA that we hold every June. And of course, our nonprofit runs 2 film festivals because who would want to not work twice as hard? And for Sherman Oaks Film Festival in December, we had Jesus Loves Me as an official selection, but we never put stuff in the theater twice in the same year. But you also brought us the film Tweens.
Yeah.
And Tweens. Oh, and I didn't mention your roles in these films, but, well, for Jesus Loves Me, you're the sole writer.
Yes.
And producer.
Yeah.
And lead actor.
Yeah.
And then in Tweens, you were a co-writer. You wrote it with a group of people, and then you give production credit to AC Entertainment, which I don't know if you want to go into that right now, but AC, Actors Cartel, and/or Alyson Croft. But you're thinking, we just before we started recording, you told me that you're thinking of switching to AC.
For the film parts of it, maybe, possibly. It's just a different branch of the Actors Cartel. So it's kind of like what I started out with that company is now slivered off into some other things that we're doing. So
yeah, and you can tell me all about the birth of Actors Cartel when I ask you for your life story.
Sure.
Which is coming up soon.
Okay.
I guess I should ask, are either online yet? Can people watch them?
One is going to be going through Yow TV, so we have some sort of an agreement with them for Jesus Loves Me.
Nice.
Tweens is still kind of floating around festivals, things like that. So that one's still going.
All right. So people can go to yow.tv. Yow TV. So you met them at Filmvasion LA?
Yeah,
or?
well, you know what's funny is I think they came to the first screening without the sound, with the sound problem, and reached out afterwards. And I was like, are you sure you got the right person? And she was just like, yeah, and she just said really nice things about it. And she's like, wanted to get that conversation started. So that was awesome. And, when that happened, worst nightmare, right? The sound guy was sitting next to my son and as the light, for it to come, because I think it was run as the second one in the night, I think.
Yeah, in that block. Yeah.
In the block.
Second film out of 4, probably.
Yeah. And then he looks at my son and he goes, I just hope the sound is good. And Oliver's like...
Before it started.
And then it started, and then we could, there were a few things where you could hear me, like a breath, because he knows it so well. And he's like, uh-oh, I'm not hearing the breath. And I just was like, okay. And, and I come from theater also, so I get it. Things happen. I wasn't mad. I was just like, well, this is what happened. It's fine. There was no hard... he was upset because it was his first thing, and so he was running around, and I think he found you in another theater.
They found me. In fact, that
poor Eric.
I joke with everyone that my staff, after that festival, by the way, we had our little, post-festival wrap-up, and everyone was like, we've switched to 3 screens at once now. you can't do Q&As anymore, dude, because when you're in the theater for 2 hours, there's lots of times we need you in the lobby.
Oh.
And I'm like, I get it. Like when we were a one screen festival, I did every Q&A.
Yeah.
And then we went to 2 screens, I did half the Q&As, and there were times that they needed me outside, and it was tough. But 3 screens at once, there's just too much going on. So I've had to accept that instead of being the guy who sits down and moderates every Q&A, I actually had to shift to management. Now I'm a manager instead of the film lover dude. But I have a podcast, so I get to make up for it. Like I didn't get to do well at the makeup screening. I got to be your moderator,
and that was great. Yeah.
But in general, that's it. Last December, I did 0 moderation for the first time in my life after 10 years of this.
Was it a bummer for you?
No, because every time, in the end, I realized someone's got to be running this. And to be honest, I used to hire someone to sort of be the lobby manager, and then we'd let them go. Yeah. And then I had to take that role. And honestly, that's where I belong. And I have the podcast to talk to people. Yeah. So as long as people do the podcast, it makes up for then instead of having a 15-minute Q&A, I get to talk to you for an hour.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
so
good.
I'm not mad.
Okay, good. That's good. Although your moderating was great.
Thank you. Thank you. I know it's well, maybe someday I'll find a manager and go back to I'll be the programmer emeritus and just be the old fart who does whatever they feel like.
Yes.
But yes, I was there. I was the one who had to look that really nice person in the eyes and just let them know, we can't back this up. We can't throw off the whole day's schedule. Yeah. And this really is your DCP. We've had 60 plus films screen here, and they all had dialogue. So it really is just a mixing problem. I'm like, and I think I fucked up and said, you got to blame your sound mixer. And he looked me in the eyes and went, I'm the sound mixer. And I was like,
Eric,
my apology, but
he cares a lot. And it was a 2-person thing. But my thing was, it happens, and it wasn't all the dialogue. It was just the beginning.
Really?
So it was because it was different channels, right?
Oh, so they got fancy in the beginning, and then once you got in the kitchen, was it okay?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. So that's not as bad as I thought it was.
No. So it was. It didn't have certain things, but and it was on a different level. Like it didn't sound like.
So in the beginning, when you're on the phone with your friend, they did something artsy, like put it in a different channel, so it would sound like you were like off outside.
Probably.
They did something artistic that was probably great.
Yeah, probably. And knowing Eric, yes.
Yeah.
And so it was the colorist and Eric who did the
DCP. Yeah.
And learning experience for sure, but he's someone that I just adore him just as a friend and as a creative because he's so detail oriented. Like I'm a little, and he just does the stuff that I don't do. And it's so important to me because I know that I have like some defects in that way. Like I don't line everything up. It's not perfect, whatever, but he's that guy. So he's a double checker and he makes sure all the stuff, and his sound is so good. And he's so creative. And
well, it's important because you're a creative, you're a writer and a performer.
Yeah.
And if you had to put your time and effort into the technical side of film,
forget it.
Then like you don't have 37-hour days. Like
no. Although it was a very long day. We shot that pretty much all in one day. We did the exteriors on a different day, and then we did the interiors. But that we got maybe 2 takes in. Each angle was like, all right, that's good. Moving on. Because he was double checking sound to make sure, because it was his first time doing any sound stuff and with my camera. So it was kind of like lots of stopping, lots of starting. So, good thing Hunter and I, the other actor, we've had a lot of experience. So we know how to like, okay, it's going to be a 20-minute thing. And then to get back to that place again. So we had to do that a lot during the day because he was taking the things out to check before moving on.
Oh, got it. So
So it was almost like shooting on like short ends or something. Like it was definitely a challenging acting experience.
So even though honestly, like it feels like a play at times, right?
Yeah.
Like you could actually perform Jesus Loves Me on stage if you wanted.
You could.
Don't need to.
Yeah.
But you and Hunter actually, it was completely interrupted. So you didn't, right? Some directors might have shot it like a play and been like, okay, we're going to let you do the whole scene.
Yeah.
4 times and we'll have like 3 cameras going and
That's kind of what we did.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what we did. We did pickups for Hunter a few times because, the pages were on the table. You get to a certain, and you're not quite remembering your lines the way you did when you were 30, or whatever. And so he had them all on the table. And I was like, well, we're going to have to cut that part out because we can't see that you have the script here on the island in the kitchen,
True. That would remove the mystery.
Off. Yeah. But other than that, we were good. We ran it like from start to finish, and then we just made sure we got the coverage. So there's not like a ton of creatively. The beginning and the end with me on the bike, that was all just let's see what happens, which I loved. That was great.
It is. In fact, I think it's a great hook.
Yeah.
Like people talk about, right? When you're writing a screenplay, you need a hook on like page 1.
Uh-huh.
And I swear, you riding that bike is a hook.
Yeah. I didn't think about it like that, but I was like, how did she get here? Where's she coming from? Because we were playing with the ending even after we had shot it. Because originally I wasn't going to cut. I was like, well, let's just get an edit. I wanted to write it cathartically. Like it was just like, let me just write this. And I did. And then it turned into let's shoot it. And oh, this is not bad. Okay, let's cut it together. And so we got our editor, John Stobaugh. And he was an editor on Ithacus, which was a documentary. It was like an Oscar winner. So he was part of that team. And he had taken kind of a little bit of a hiatus. And I was like, so John, do you want to look at what we just did? And he was like, sure. And he cut it together. And then he was like, we need a kid. I was like, right, we need a kid. Because we're talking about the kid. We don't see the kid. That was on purpose. And he was like, I think we need to see what you guys are arguing over. And I looked over. My son's on the couch with his headphones on. I said, I got a kid right here. And so then I just said, Oliver, I'm going to take some, just do what you're doing playing the video game. And he did the video game. So we cut it in. It's literally 3 seconds of the thing, but it adds something with the headphones. So it's like, we're terrible. But we're also not, we think he can't hear with the headphones.
That is a good point, right? Because surely some portion of the audience would sit there going, the kid can hear this.
Yeah.
And so showing a video gamer with a head, with big old headphones on.
Yeah. That made sense to me.
Plus, anyone who's raised a kid in this era knows that is actually who they are. They're just like in their room, shut off with technology.
Right. Because I didn't want us to be, they're both not ideal, but I think that's true of when people get to this touchy subject of splitting up and then you're fighting over the kids. It's like brings out the worst in really good people and then, makes worse people worser. That's not a word, but you know what I mean. So
it's good
is
enough.
Worser a good word? So I needed to have the headphones on him because I was like, we're terrible, but he can't really hear everything that we're saying because then that makes us look awful. But I don't know. They're both pretty awful, I think. By the end of it, yeah.
See, the funny thing is, like, should I debate you on this? Like, I think we've already discussed it, right? Where I'm like, I am on a second marriage and my partner's on their second marriage. And like, I get it. Like when you're talking to that person who you wed and then realize you should not be married to, the odds of you being your best when you are in conflict. So you're just showing two people at their worst moment, which by the way is great storytelling, right? Like that is a story that needs to be told. That's what we rarely get. By the way, it's very real.
Yes.
Whereas, if I were to shit on the industry at large, where when they do a story about divorced people, it's bullshit drama.
Yeah.
Like it's way too heightened.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And it always strikes me as false. Whereas your film strikes me as true, which that's one of the best things about indie film, right? Is that you can get some truth because it's not filtered through a system that says, well, wait, we need to make more money with this. So don't be so truthful. She should actually reach for a kitchen knife.
Although it didn't, it crossed my mind. The ending, I was like, well, he could have a heart attack because the actor actually was going into a heart thing and went to the hospital after we shot.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I
I mean, he's fine. Everything's
Yeah.
fine. But had he not gone, and he was just like, hey, this is subject matter. It's just, is it hot in here? The whole day. I was like, no, it's not really that hot. Are you okay? Do you feel nauseous? Like I was just, come to find out he was having a situation and that he got the medical treatment he needed for it. But he was like, I think it's this fucking topic. Like this whole thing is just hard. Like maybe.
A good actor feels what they're doing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, then maybe he can just keel over. I step over the body, grab the kid, and leave. I'm like, but no, that would suck.
No, and then people watching, well, with half a brain would be like, okay, so now she's gonna get framed for murder and kidnapping, and that shit, right? It would, yeah.
Like,
Things
that
would not
doesn't
end well
make
for your character.
sense. Yeah, right. So we just kept it as it was. I didn't want it to be like a clear side.
Yeah, no, I think that was one of the things I surely said at our makeup Q&A was that you allow that male character in that kitchen. We see good in him.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, when pushed, he turns into, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that when pushed, he gets less generous and accommodating. But that's all of us, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't like being nagged or pushed. I mean, not that he's being nagged. I just mean that, like,
Right.
my shitty side can come out
Sure.
if I'm treated in a way that I'm not happy with. You
Yeah.
know? It's all of us. It's human.
Yeah. It's human.
Human stories.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, you are a teller of human stories.
Thank you.
How did that happen to you? What is your origin story as a writer and performer? Were you a writer first, performer first? Did you catch the bug as a kid?
Yes. So I was so when I was 6 years old is when I started. I started doing commercials.
Were you in
LA?
SoCal?
Yes. And my mom. So I was obsessed with Three's Company. It was too old for me, but my parents let me stay up to watch it. John Ritter, my just favorite person ever in life. I had an outfit picked out in my dresser, what I was going to wear when I was hired to be on Three's Company. So I was not the kid that was like, Mom, can I try to do that? I want to be on TV. I was like, we're doing this and I'm going to do it without you if I'm not doing it. I would go to neighbors' houses and like all these people would show up to the front lawn when I was probably 5. And they would knock on the door. My mom would be like, why are all of our neighbors here with a cookie? That was the price to get in. And I would do some goofy thing, like whatever it was, like singing or dancing, and it was not great. But all these neighbors would just be out there. And she was like, you can't do that anymore because then I feel like I have to, accommodate these people. And I'm like, no, they're not coming inside. They're just going to be outside. So she was
like, Mom, this
like,
is my audience.
Yes. And they brought a cookie because, I
So
like
you were
cookies.
that adorable that at 5 you just knocked on doors and said, I'm going to perform. Come and bring me a
Show
cookie.
starts at 5.
Show starts. And everyone was like, I'm doing this. Why not?
I think they were like, this poor girl. Yes. I don't know what they were thinking. And adorable, I don't know if it was adorable. I think it was just precocious and probably a little, I would find it
Precocious and
endearing.
adorable are the same side, different sides of the same coin.
Okay. So she was just like, well, let's give it a shot. My mom was from Kentucky. My dad was from here. So we're like 4th generation LA from my dad. And so she was just like, oh, okay, let's see what happens. And, the worst thing or the best thing, the first like 3 auditions I had, I booked. And they were like national spots. So I was SAG in 81. And then it just went from there. So I just started doing lots of commercials.
So you were a child actor for
Yes,
real.
For real. Three's Company, there was one episode of that show where they had a kid. One out of all the whole series. And I've seen every single one of them probably 30 times now. And it was this little girl who found a kitten or lost a kitten. And she comes to the three of them at the house going, I lost my kitten, whatever. And the kitten gets lost. They all go out and get different kittens, but some of them, like Chrissy gets one that's like orange when the cat was actually like black and white or something. And I was like, this is my moment. I was 7 or 8. I got a call back. And it was at CBS or whatever. I just remember it so vividly.
It was at CBS in Studio City.
Okay, yeah.
I grew up in Studio City. I'm third generation LA.
Nice,
Go on.
nice. So we lived in Studio City too once I turned like 10 or 11. Anyway, we were further and then we moved in once I was working and stuff. So I go to this callback. There's all these booths, like looking like a Denny's, like just booths before you go into the producer session. And I'm sitting there and there's 3 other girls. 3 other girls I've seen on every audition I've been on in town. It's the 3, yep, that one's always there. That one's always there. In walks John Ritter. And I was like, and he came and he sat down next to every kid and their parent to say hello. And when he sat down with me and my mom, I was just like, it was like, it would be like seeing, like, you know how you're talking about Angelo? That would be like me meeting Maynard, you know, like now, where I'd be like, ah. So it was John Ritter. I couldn't believe it. He went into the auditions for the callback and he was sitting right there and read the lines just to see. And I did not book the job, Jeff.
But by the way, for anyone who needs me to say this, that shows that he was an unbelievably excellent human being, because how many lead actors on the #1 sitcom in America are going to sit down with each kid for they wouldn't, most people let a casting person do it.
Absolutely.
But the fact that he did that,
happened
amazing
any other time.
human being.
Amazing. And I was devastated.
That sucks that you didn't book it.
It sucks. It was just like I had a 25% chance, you know, and like the only kid that they had on there. But I looked at it like, you know, encouragement or whatever. Sometimes as I'm older, I'm like, fuck, if I had just stopped then, maybe my life would have been different, you know, like when I get into this
have you gotten so mad that you didn't get Three's Company?
Yeah, like that should have been my moment to like just leave the business, you know. But,
and then you'd be a dermatologist.
Sure. Something. Yeah,
right.
But that only lasts for a minute. And actually, in Jesus Loves Me, the shirt I'm wearing is a Three's Company shirt.
That's right. Oh, deep cut.
Yeah.
Nice.
My best friend.
That's an Easter egg. Easter egg.
Yeah. So my best friend got me that shirt because he knew how much I absolutely loved the thing.
That's bitchin'. By the way, I would just share that in high school, I worked at the Big Five, like a couple hundred feet from that, from Studio City, from CBS Studios. Yeah, it used to be Mary Tyler Moore Studios when I was a kid.
Yeah,
and that's why I sold shoes to like Tony Danza and Tom Hanks.
Oh, how cool is that?
And they were really nice people.
And
people. Charles Grodin. But
I love Charles Grodin. I never met him.
Those are the only 3 I remember coming in. But you know, yeah, we were like right next to this little TV studio where Gilligan's Island was shot, by the way.
So cool. I shot my series there too. I had a series for a while when I was a teenager.
Well, I interrupted.
No, it's fine. The Three's Company was that's what everything. I still watch that show. My son watches the show. Like that comedy is just, he's a genius. He is just so good. They were all good, but he was, you know. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't book that job. But then I kept working, and then I had an agent. Her name was Iris Burton. I don't know if you know who Iris Burton is. So she had it was me and Joaquin Phoenix and River Phoenix. And
right, so this is like teenage years?
Yeah.
Right.
Jenny Lewis, who was my best friend growing up. And she's a singer now. And strangely enough, just bought my ex-father-in-law's house in Ojai. Weird.
Small, yeah. I always joke the simulation we're in is like,
it's like, is this?
Yeah, they didn't put enough code in it, so things keep repeating.
I'm just like, this is so odd. Okay, let's see, who else did she have? She had like Kirk Cameron and Fred Savage. So she had, You know, this
Right.
was like the young actors.
Teens on TV was her specialty.
That was it. And you go to her for those. So when I signed with her, I first met her when I was 6 years old, and she didn't sign me because I was chewing gum. And we went to her house, and she goes, you shouldn't come into an appointment with chewing gum. Get that out of your mouth. She was she was a strong lady. So I took it and threw it across the room, and it went behind her couch. And instead of getting mad at me, she thought it was hilarious. My poor parents were like, oh my God, we're so sorry. You know, like my mom's pulling the couch out, trying to get the gum. And I was like, well, she was being like, so she signed me like a few years later. And so that was good. And then I worked, you know, constantly till I was like 15 or 16. But I did a lot of work in that time.
Right. So I saw you. I must have.
On TV, you mean?
Yeah. Because I was our generation, I was watching TV all the time.
So, yeah. So the one that gets recycled to me from Instagram and stuff is like, do you remember the McGruff crime dog?
Of course.
Okay. So there's a part where the girl's walking down the street going, that's Jenny, but that's not Jenny's dad. If she gets in that car, we may never see her again. And so I was Jenny. That one, all the time. I mean, still to this day. People are like, oh my God. Like, yeah. So, but that's when commercials, that was a PSA, but there were other spots that ran for like 8 to 10 years. That's when you could actually survive as an actor.
Right, off residuals.
Doing commercials.
Yeah.
They're still out there, but it's not like it was. Like, you know, I'd do a milk commercial and that ran for 8 or 9 years. And they have to, you know, that's a lot of money there. Because they re-up you, and then they have to give you holding fees, and they renegotiate and all that stuff, where you could actually still pursue what you want to do, because you're not going to make that unless you're a series regular, you know, on a show or something. Very lucrative, but not so much anymore. It's a shame, really, that they, you know, so it's a different game out there. But you can still book them, you know, but across the board and that run a long time, few and far between. But that's what I've done, a lot of commercials too as an adult, and then lots of TV. So when I was 18, I also did a movie called Trancers with Helen Hunt and Tim Thomerson when I was 7, 15, 14, something like that. We did 3 movies.
Right, they did Trancers, and then 2 and 3.
They did like up till 6
right.
or something.
And the kick-ass thing is they kept you in all 3.
They kept me in all 3. So the
right.
first one was an actual movie, though. It was Empire Pictures. It was released in the theaters. It was, you know, received. And then Charlie Band moved over to not Empire. It was called something else. And we shot in Italy because he was running the De Laurentiis studios in Italy, right outside of Rome. So he just flew everybody out. And so we did, you know, a month in Rome, just fucking around, you know. It was great. That must
have been amazing.
It was great. It was so great. I remember meeting, like, Ray Charles was coming through in the lobby, and I was like, Ray Charles, what? You know, like, and so I met him. That was great. He wasn't in any of the films. He was just passing through the hotel.
But it means they put you in a good hotel.
Yeah, they put us in a nice hotel, and then he owned a castle out there, which apparently he still owns. Doesn't have the studio anymore, but still has the castle. And he had the whole cast in a bus drive through these windy old streets to get to this cool castle. It was so fun and so cool. And then the third one we did out here somewhere in, like, I can't remember exactly where, but it was pretty much within the area. And then after that, they went, I think, to non-union type stuff. And I think Tim Thomerson did a few of them, but they didn't reprise because I am the man. So Art LaFleur in the future comes back into his ancestor's body, and the only one he could find was this girl ancestor. So the whole gimmick was that I was a tough guy cop from the future in this little girl's body.
That must have been fun.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I do a lot of improv and be like, hey, what's up, Lena, to the to Helen Hunt, like where I would just be like, take off that robe. Come on, let's take it off. Like stuff that they couldn't put in the film, but it was just so fun to do, you know? And so I did that at different ages. So that was great. People still contact me about that, but those are the things. I mean, there's other highlights from that time.
And the whole time, and you were enjoying acting. And at that point, were you interested in writing or other things, but you were solely performing?
So the guy who cast that, interestingly enough, his name was Anthony Barneo, and he became a pretty big casting director. But he originally was a coach, like an acting teacher. And I had met him in his acting class when I was 6 or 7 or something. And he taught me how to meditate. And that's something I kept I still do it today. But he always started his classes with a meditation. So I start my classes with meditation. So anyway, he was casting the Transfers films. He got me into that. Then he opened a theater company after he was casting Profiler. Do you remember that TV show Profiler?
Yeah.
So he was casting that. And so I hadn't seen him in a few years. And so I went in and I was reading for a role there. And he goes, well, Alyson, I have a theater company and I'd love for you to come by. And I said, oh, okay, I'd love that. And I was like 19. And so we were in class, we were doing a ton of plays, and I was like, I should write something. And so I decided to write a couple things, and I brought it to class and had some people read with me, and he was like, I think we should turn that into like a production here.
Right. He saw a play in it. He really did. Yeah.
And so I wrote 3 one-acts, and then we did an evening of the one-acts. And they were all different, but all with my voice, you know. And then, you know, when you have a long run, at least, I don't know if it's still that way, but with smaller theaters, but like if you get reviewed, you have to be running for a certain period of time so the reviewers can come. And the LA Weekly came and they called and said, we want to put her up for a playwriting award. And I was like, what? I'm just trying to get people in the seats and like do the thing. And I'm just excited to have the thing. And so how that works is then everybody from the weekly, all the reviewers show up to the show to give their votes. And so I made the nomination list, me and like 4 other people. And then they had the awards show. And I was just like, what? This is so crazy. And then I got there and then they named us all and then my name for winning that award.
Amazing.
I was just like, what is going on? Blah. It was so cool. I was 23, I think.
20. And I will add context for anyone listening to us, which is the LA Weekly was a big deal before the internet.
Yeah.
In order to have fun,
for sure.
It was every major city had a free weekly that was where you found out what concerts what bands, what plays, even movies. Like you literally planned your weekend, because I think the LA Weekly came out on, I don't know if it was Wednesday or Thursday, but it came out and then you looked at it, you picked it up at Tower Records and you decided what you were going to do that weekend based on the LA Weekly. So like this LA Weekly award is huge.
Yeah. They did a whole, so then, they're like the Village Voice. And I think they were owned by the Village Voice at that time or something. So it's like New York's equivalent to the Village Voice. And then I wrote another one. It was a full length, and it was about like ravers, and like it was cool. It was lots of drugs, and it was fun. That was
your world. You were a Tool fan.
That's right. We were going to save Mumia Abu Jamal, the guy who was imprisoned in the play. That was our excursion to the desert, excuse to go out and do a bunch of stuff. Anyway, then they did a whole article on it because they did a nice theater section each week, and then they would highlight something, and it was right there, and they did a full article. It was Stephen Lee Morris, who now runs Stage Raw, I think. Stephen Lee Morris. Yeah, so he did a write-up, and so all this stuff was just like, I was like, and it scared me because I was so young. I was like, what do I do now?
Right, and you weren't like, you didn't want to be a playwright all your life.
I was,
and then
fine
all of a sudden
with
you
it,
had this opportunity that you hadn't planned for.
Yeah, and I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Like, there was a lot of things, but I think the age too was tough. I just was like, then I got bad reviews. I got good reviews and bad reviews. I mean, it's always, then the third play I did, it was a bit of a kind of like an Angelo world, like the ska world. So it was really highlighting these group of kids who were into ska. And, I'm sure like the LA skins, right? They were not racist skinheads. They were actually non-racist, like that was their thing. But they adopted that whole ska style. And I think it confused some people. That's what I believe. So there was a few people that came that reviewed it and really was like, we didn't like this. And da, 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 da.
Right. They were too separated from the culture that you were representing. Because you were representing LA youth culture and punk culture of a sort.
Yes.
And I mean, well, I'm an LA native, and I have spent years. I sometimes piss people off by, like, I always debate people, like, the LA punk scene was so much better than New York. You have no idea. New York was about fashion. LA was about music.
Right.
They were about their bands were all fashionable. Ours put on shitty clothes, and they didn't care. They didn't all coordinate and change their last names. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But the LA scene never got what it deserved, and you were representing it.
Yes. I was. And it was older reviewers that didn't they would make comments like this younger, group of wasted youth and all that kind of stuff.
Almost like our old farts not appreciating Bad Bunny.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's like, it's not of my culture, so it's bad.
Yes. And I don't want to encourage the young writer to continue writing this kind of stuff. So I took it a little bit hard, I think. And I was like, it was just, when you read it in print and you're like, someone told me this great advice. They said, if you're going to believe the good ones, you got to believe the bad ones. And so I've kind of was like, well, I've read the good ones and the bad ones, and now I feel totally lost. And I just kind of didn't pick up a pen for a while because I would go deep, and to get there, it would kind of shake me a little bit.
Yeah, you were writing personal. It was very personal.
Yeah.
I mean, and I say that because Jesus Loves Me is personal. Like I realize you write from the heart. You write from your soul.
Right.
And so that's and reviewers are just,
Yeah.
It's artists who bear themselves are at greater risk.
Yeah. And I was just too young and not I don't know. It was hard. And, there's no money there either. So I was like, okay, well, how do I support myself? I'm still acting. I'm still doing this. Like, how do I pursue this one thing that takes so much out of me where there's no... So I just kind of... And I didn't... And then my mom got sick, and then there was a whole thing, and then I had a baby. So it was like there was a lot of time there where I was still acting and working and doing TV and stuff.
And I think back then, and maybe even now, but it's not like winning a playwriting award and doing that, it doesn't help the other stuff, right? Like Hollywood doesn't look at that and go, oh,
right,
maybe this person has a series in them.
Yeah.
Like it's just like there was a real weird separation between live stage and television.
Absolutely.
And there shouldn't be, because TV is freaking, started with vaudeville, right? But
yeah. It's interesting, too, because at that time, a lot of my actor peer friends that were working or that I'd known from younger, zero respect for the theater.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of go, well, guys, this is where I am. And so I had to, I kind of, not lost friends.
You were kind of an iconoclast, which I think I know what that means.
I know, I'm like, that's a big word.
It's a
Jeff.
big, but it means someone who is like willing to stand up against the norms.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because do you make any money doing that? Like, that was the general consensus of actor peers that I respected, that, I'd end up like on Shameless working with one of those actresses that would, be like, oh, you're doing a guest thing here? Oh, yeah. And so we worked 2 days together, and we had both had that same agent when we were growing up. She's a fantastic actress. I'm not going to say her name, but I just remember that whole group of people were just like, meh.
Right. So actors on Shameless, like the regular cast, were like, plays? That can only hurt our career?
Yeah, I don't... Yeah, but John Levy, who cast me in a bunch of stuff, he respect for that. He still does, obviously, but he loves the theater. He was at the Taper under, I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm not going to say it, but in the 80s, he was the assistant. He got it's not a scholarship, but it's like an apprentice kind of thing. So he was working there under Jose Quintero. See, I knew I was going to mess it up. Great guy, director.
And the Taper
huge, yeah. So he came from theater.
I was going to talk so you can get a sip, but I'll talk about the Taper is like one of the few like playhouses in LA. It's like part of our main music center downtown, but it's a small enough venue that they have good, interesting plays. Like it doesn't have to be like a huge blockbuster because it's like a 400 or 500. I don't know. It's maybe even 300 seats. So like that's actually where I would buy season tickets because I'm like, this is where you see the interesting shit. Like the Pantages is where you see like the overblown productions that most people want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see like the stuff that was like kicking ass off Broadway.
Right.
And that's the Taper.
Yeah. Yeah. So he casted all of John Wells' stuff. So he would call me in for all of his stuff. And I think he hired me like 3 times. And the one show that they wanted me to come back on as a recurring ended up getting canceled, which was so annoying because it was Ray Liotta. Like, who's going to think Ray Liotta show is going to not go? Ray Liotta, Simon Baker, like, who? Vanessa, Michael Madsen, Virginia Madsen.
Right.
And it ran for like one season.
One and
they
done.
They were having me come back the next I was like, damn it. But whatever. It's okay. But anyway, so I did a lot of stuff with John, but he respects theater, still does theater. And there are people out there that look at your resume, I don't know how much of them do it now. But I think with AI, people are getting more interested in live stuff. Hopefully it comes back to where people are going to give it some respect.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I
don't know.
I get a virtue signal for you, and guess what? We are speaking a few days after Super Bowl Sunday, and I spent Super Bowl Sunday at a play.
Oh, good.
I was like, I don't care about football. So, and actually, a festival alumni sent me an email like a week or 2 ago, like, I'm in a play in North Hollywood if you want to come.
Oh, nice.
And I went, and then one of our, actually someone who's done moderation for the festivals, now that I can't.
Yeah.
He was also in the play. I'm like, I know 2 fucking people in this play.
That's
Maybe
great.
running film festivals for 10 years has like, now I know actors, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was a wonderful, amazing play. And
Oh, cool.
that's my thing. Every year, my New Year's resolution is, okay, this year, 5 live plays,
Okay.
5 live music shows, and 5 museums. I got to hit it.
Yeah.
Because if you let yourself stay home and watch TV, then, you're not part of the culture, I think.
Right.
There, I virtue signaled. I'm an awesome person who goes to plays.
You are. That's really, I should do the same thing. Yeah. I mean, it is hit and miss.
I would recommend this one, but it's intense.
Oh, this one that you just went to see? I like intense.
It's also really very smart. I think they built a stage. You know how, this is goofy for me to waste your time of your podcast. But
No.
I believe this. I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting the name of the theater I was just at on Sunday. But it was.
Was it on Lancashire or Magnolia?
It's on Magnolia, a little
so you
east
got
of Lancashire, and I think
Lindley?
it's a senior livings facility.
Oh, that's
but the
the
bottom floor is a
Road-
stage. The
Road
Road Theater.
Theater?
The Road something. The Road.
Yes. Yeah, and it has seats that.
Yes, very steep.
Yep, very
steep
steep.
seating, and saw a wonderful play called Lifeline.
Okay.
But I thought, I actually did say to my wife, I'm like, oh, this is genius, because the only people who go to plays are old people, and they built a playhouse under a senior center so the seniors just can come down and watch plays. Like,
That's the coolest thing.
smart.
So smart. Yes. And as I get older, these things are not too far off from what I'm thinking. I might want to move there, but I think they have a waiting list from like all the SAG places.
They all do. The good thing for our generation I think we're both Gen X, is that we were at the same Lollapaloozas.
Yeah, right.
We learned that before we started recording. So I might be older than you, but not a lot. Normally I'm like 20 years older than everyone on this podcast, as you can imagine. Maybe 30.
Oh, that's
I mean, yeah. But the great thing is when the boomers die off, there'll be all this extra room in the senior facilities. So maybe we'll get bargains.
Okay.
Because there's like one of us for every like 3 boomers or something.
Oh,
I have no idea the math.
I don't know the math either, but that sounds promising.
Yeah.
I hope they don't die soon, though. I don't want to hope somebody.
No, I'm not. But it will happen. I mean, the boomers.
Which is the weird thing about life is like, it's a fact. We're gonna die.
Oh,
I still don't get it. But.
Yeah, no, it's the human condition, right? That's what. All right, so I totally derailed you. So
it's okay. No, you're good.
You are
Alyson Croft.
Alyson Croft, actor, and then you became a playwright first. Mm-hmm. And then, do you want to talk about Actors Cartel and teaching, and or did you? How did you go from playwriting to decide? Well, I'm going to write some shorts or some films. Like, did you start doing screenwriting?
No. So I just continued to work, and then people always would come to me and go, "Hey, I got an audition. Will you help me with it?" And sure, of course.
Right, because you're a seasoned actor, and they're like, if I read with you before my audition, you can give me better tips than my acting coach.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And so I guess. And so they did well, and then they'd book stuff. And, hey, thanks for coaching me. I booked that thing. I'm like, oh, that's great. So I have a friend who I've known through my mentor for many years, and she's a voiceover girl, and she's a voiceover actress, and she's a voiceover coach. So she would have weekly classes, and she'd have them at her house, like at her dinner table, whatever. And I'd go to a couple, and she's like, Alyson, you should do like an on-camera class. And I was like, yeah, maybe. She goes, I'm going to set you up. I said, oh, okay, what does that mean? You know, if you know this girl, it's kind of like, well, what does that entail exactly? You know? And so she was like, no, you're just going to have people come. So she kind of set up this thing. And I was also coaching for another friend who I think got tired of it. And he was like, can you come in and guest teach for me? And I was like, sure. And I went and then really enjoyed it. Like, I was like, this feels good. And I'm helping people. And you see the light turn on. And then you're like, oh, snap, I love this, you know? And then those people would reach out like, hey, are you teaching? Because he's not teaching anymore. And I'm like, well, actually, I am. And so then it just kind of was like the converging of that. And then I started teaching, and I've had 2 weekly classes for the last 10 years. Surprisingly enough, it's been afloat. Sometimes it gets lean, sometimes it doesn't, but you know, I'm kind of always having students.
And it feels good and
feels great. I've had a rough year, and it really has been like the highlight. You know, my dad passed, and that was tough.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, my dad passed, and then and it was sudden. And I walked in, and he lived downtown. He lived in a little loft downtown. And that was rough. And I didn't have my mom. So now I'm alone, right? I have a brother, but I don't talk to him very often. So it's been a rough year, but the highlights have been the film festival and the Sherman Oaks Film Festival and the process of writing and collaborating with friends, which is what I'm doing now. And like, I'm working on one that's coming. Oh, interestingly enough, you remember the film that filmed at the second screening? The guy, Hefe?
Yes.
So he reached out, and he was like, I've got this short I'm going to be working on. There's a role for you. Would you be interested? And I was like, sure. So when he gets that going, he wants to.
I was very impressed with his film.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Like cinematically, it was so
really
different than mine.
Really Turkish dude.
Yeah.
From Turkey, which I actually have been there and love that country. But yeah, that's look at that. That's cool. At that.
It's so cool because I loved his stuff. Like what his strong suit was, what like mine was dialogue heavy and his was cinematic. So it was like almost like a beautiful.
It's almost like he's style and your substance. Cinematically.
Right.
His movie was like pure style and your movie was pure substance.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Yeah, because you're telling a real human story. And his is just, I think he even called that film, I'm forgetting the title, but he even referred to it, I think in when we sat and talked about it, as it plays like a long trailer.
Oh, he said that?
Like he called it a long trailer. And I'm like, God, I just thought you did a great job editing. But I feel
he did a great job editing. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did everything, right?
Everything.
That was tough. I know. I was like, that is so impressive.
But you just made me so happy because that whenever people meet at the festivals and then see other people whose work they respect and they collaborate, like, that's the whole fucking point.
Yeah. Yeah. So
community.
You can take that into, And then people who came to see Jesus Loves Me, I'm writing another one with a friend of mine who we're calling it, I don't want to butcher it.
Jesus Hates Me. No, I can't. No, but while you look that up, I'll add that what I didn't get from you is what Jesus effing no. I could get too blasphemous too fast. So it's a bad trait in me. But I was just gonna say, I was pretending to ask when you decided to actually write for the screen.
Oh,
okay. Like because you'd written for the stage, and then was it just a natural transition, or
no? It was always something that a short kind of feels like a one act to me. I hadn't sat down and written anything in a while, and I had bought a cinema camera because now they're relatively affordable, and I was like, I can use this for class, so it's a business thing, but it's also now I can do it myself. What? Because it was just too far out of reach.
Right. The camera you buy to use at the class and to have people be able to watch themselves back and stuff.
Yeah. But
can shoot a Hollywood fucking movie.
Right.
Because they're 4K now.
Could you imagine what we would have done with this technology when we were kids? I can't.
Oh.
And I'm looking at my son going, do you know what you're wasting? You're sitting there watching YouTube. You could be making stuff.
That phone that you use just for TikTok is actually like nearly as good as the $150,000 cameras that they shoot Hollywood movies on. Right. It's and you can edit it, by the way, on every computer on Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
We couldn't have done that. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do that 10, 15 years ago. I just wasn't like, if it was available to me, I probably would have been doing it a lot longer because I like to do all the things. Hang the lights and do the thing and do that and write the thing and act in the thing. Like I want to do all the things.
And once the stuff is affordable, if you just have a decent little light package and one camera, you're like, you can make a movie.
Yeah.
So you said to yourself, the stuff I bought for the acting class, I can just make a movie with this.
Correct. And it was our tester. It was like, let's see what happens. And that was Jesus Loves Me.
And Jesus, you decided to write a faith-based. I might have been drawn to your film by the blasphemy of the title as well. Okay. Well, it's not blasphemous, but
it was such a great line in it.
It is
that I was like, well, we were like, I didn't have a title for it. I didn't, titles are always hard for me. So I was like, well, it'll come to me as we go along. It'll come to me. And so as we were watching like the edit back, everyone just kept calling it, the Jesus Loves Me thing. JLM, Jesus Loves Me. And I was like, yeah, Jesus Loves Me. Let's do it. Because it's a pivotal part of that thing where they just, you don't know what Jesus would do. Oh, I know Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just, yeah. So that's
which really does make it of our time too, for sure. Yeah.
It's out there. But, this other one, let me just tell you the title here, or what it is. It's not an erotic thriller. Hold on. I'm stretching. It's an intimate post-apocalyptic drama.
That you've written?
That we're doing. My friend
and
I are
after the apocalypse. So your next film is going, you're doing some world building. Well,
it's still a human story. It's two people. It's a little more risky. Two strangers who meet in this sort of apocalyptic type world, and he's a director, so he's going to direct. And I was gifted a camera package, So that was nice. So we're going to use like an Alexa Mini.
Right. So even fancier than what you own.
Oh, by way. But somebody who knows how to use it, I'm like, yeah, we're going to have, so we have somebody who knows how to use the camera and knows how, lenses and stuff like that. So it'll be a little more stylized because lighting's really important. I'm really trying to learn lighting because I'm like, the whole world of filmmaking now is just opened up because I'm seeing it from all the points of view and like, oh, okay, where's that light source coming from? Okay, how do I do that? And so then I use class because I tape every month. I coach them on scenes and then we shoot them, with mics and the whole bit. And I try to light, but it's, it's a work in progress for sure. But it's so important and I love it. It's so exciting to me. Lighting, so exciting. Yeah, because it can just make or break something.
Oh,
It's actually is. It is funny that the cinematography award always goes to someone who had the best gaffer. You know what I mean? The best light design. Because unless it's exterior day, and now I'll mention like I do every every podcast that like as a film festival juror, I see 700-800 films every 6 months or so. And bad lighting
and bad sound,
it just makes you, and the hardest thing in the world is to light something to look natural. Yeah. To make it look like it's not lit is the challenge. Yeah. If it's Star Trek and it's okay to have a huge beaming light in someone's face, right over the, every cinematographer I know would like rip on Star Trek lighting but hey, they were on a spaceship. It's supposed to look bad.
Yeah, it can look as groovy as they want.
But either way, so now you're, and I guess I was gonna say that you enjoyed making a short.
Oh,
enough
absolutely.
To make more.
Yes.
Like you made Tweens again right away.
Yeah, Tweens. Mm-hmm. Tweens was fun.
And that was one that did that work out of the class? Like, because there's 4 writers listed?
So no, it was the kids. 3? So the 2 kids, right? And I actually met them through my son. And then I met the mom. And then the kids are actors. And they were talking to me about an idea that they wanted to do. And I was like, we should try that. And so the director was someone I had worked with before. He's young. He's 24, 20. You met Cam. I think you met him at the Mixer.
Yes.
Young guy, from Ohio and like out here doing everything he can to just get experience. And I think he's a math tutor, like on the side. So, but he's very, so I thought, let's just put this all together. And so we did that. We shot that in one day. And I thought it was an interesting little story, and it was 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. So it was
5-6 minutes, and that's interesting. So the story came from the young folk, which, and it's every parent's nightmare of sorts. A nightmare, not the world's worst nightmare, just financial. Just maybe lose a little bit of. I just wanted to make it clear it's not about a child in danger. Their life's not in danger. Just mom's credit card's in danger. Which is that scarier for a parent?
So funny, Jeff. Your face.
Because I'm like
just financial.
But I mean, it's like, what can I say? We've got a college freshman who like, can I put this on the card? And I'm like, is it books or food, or is it a gift for a boy? Because I don't think we should be covering the gift for the boy.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. That was hilarious.
All good.
Just financial. Yes. That would be a financial nightmare. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, it's something that Oliver, my son, has said to me a million times. Can I get your card? I got to level up on this thing. It's rare and it's only going to last for 5 more minutes, Mom. I can't, and it's like the end of the world. And you're like, bro,
so the story resonated for you.
Oh,
the story came from the kids, but you're like, I live this all the time.
Yeah. The ultra rare. It's ultra rare. And it's like the end of the world. So dramatic. Like, if I don't get this, I'm going to die, you know. And I don't want to be the parent that's like, I don't want you to die, you know, like, okay. And then I give it to him. And then I trusted him way more when he was younger with a card than I do now, which is weird because he's a teenager. I don't know if that's normal.
I think that makes sense.
Okay.
I could justify it.
Okay.
For sure, because when they're younger, they're not devious. They're with age comes wisdom, and then they can use it against you.
I'm going to call it that, wisdom. With
Yeah.
age comes wisdom. Yeah. But yes, the creepy guy, well, he did have this one, he was talking to somebody on eBay about building a video game computer for him. And I said, who is this guy? His name is Jokamola or something. And I was like, okay, how old is Jokamola? I don't know. He's an adult. I'm like, you're talking to an adult about buildings. How much is this thing that Jokamola is trying to sell you? $2,000.
You're like, we could go into Best Buy and for less than that, bring you home a kick-ass computer.
Yeah. He's like, no, but he knows all the special stuff. He's gonna, whatever you call it, when they build it themselves and they.
Yeah, no. I'm familiar. I mean, we didn't have to deal with that, but my nephews, I got nephews who would actually come to me with like they wanted to help. I might have been nerdy enough to build my own computer a long time ago.
Yeah, my brother, same thing, and his kid, same thing. My son is not quite
but that was
smart
to actually
enough.
save money. That was because like you could like go to Fry's. There is no Fry's anymore.
I know, what a bummer.
But you could go to Fry's and spend $500 and slap together something that Dell would charge you $1,000 for.
Okay.
That was me. Mm-hmm. So then I had nephews coming to me wanting to put together a gaming computer, and I was
nice.
Like, it's always good to be a good uncle.
Oh, that's great. That's my brother's that way too. Like all of his kids have specially made ones because he was the kid. My brother, they would knock on the door from the FBI because my brother in the 80s was doing like the modem stuff. And he's like, we knocked on the door and they were like, we have word that you are communicating with people in some other country somewhere. And it was like 83 maybe. I don't know.
That was
my dad
thing.
Was like,
I remember
no more
like
computer.
That was back when like computer hackers were like, it was something else.
It was before everybody had computers. It was like before the, like my dad's age even understood computers were going to take over. So it was like, that's bad. Don't do it. And so my brother was like, but I love doing this stuff.
Yeah, like, no, he was ahead. I wasn't that cool. See, to me, that was cool. I know it was actually nerdier than me. I wasn't nerdy enough to be into it, but I didn't when like, I think I had a cousin who was like on like an early version of the internet called FidoNet or something. And I was like, damn, you're into some cool stuff, man. I have AOL.
I don't even think AOL was a thing at that point.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah, no. And so it was just, why are the authorities in suits coming to the door? You're doing something wrong. And now it's like, God, he could have been Apple. He could have been, what's the guy's name? Steve Jobs?
Steve could have been a Jobs or a Wozniak or a Gates. Yeah. Yeah, no, coulda, woulda.
He's living his good life in San Diego with a bunch of kids, so he's good. And the kids do the computer stuff now.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to your question.
And you're enjoying writing.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
And that now when you sit down to write, like, do you have the little black book or the notes on the phone that like play ideas and screen ideas?
So interesting. I'm a thinker. So I do a lot of thinking about it before I sit down to the page. And so it may look like I'm lazy doing nothing, but I'm thinking.
Right. So you're plotting out like 3 acts all in your head. You don't like write down and then find out where it goes. You work it out in your head first.
I do. Yeah. And then the guy, Katero, who I'm working with here, Katero Colbert, we actually went to high school together, we went to Hollywood High. And we have mutual friends, but we've not hung out, say, like the last couple of years, which is bizarre to me. It's so great. I mean, I just remember he was a little bit older than me in high school, and we weren't like buddy then, but now we're like super tight. And so him and I are writing this thing together. He knows the formula. He knows this. He knows that. So, again, I'm not super technical as a writer. I just kind of I'm like good at the dialogue stuff. You can work on this part. So it's been a beautiful kind of mesh between the two of us because he's got that end and I've got this end. So I feel like it's a good matchup. But we'll see. He's going to act in it. I'm going to act in it. I'm a little concerned, though, but it's okay. It's just a lot of hats to be wearing. And it's emotionally... it's bigger than emotionally than the other one even.
Right. So you're... And it sounds like you're not really thinking about writing plays anymore.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Not right now. Maybe at another time.
Yeah, it might come, sure. but this is
yeah.
And you can do it in ways that don't and I guess I'm saying this as someone who talks to indie filmmakers all the time. You can do this and not mess your life up.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing breaks me like, hearing about the person who pours everything they've got financially. Yeah, you can, we live in a wonderful era where you can make indie films.
Yeah.
I believe there was a famous book in the late 80s called Indie Films at Used Car Prices or something, or Feature Films at Used Car Prices.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it kind of checks out, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little punk rock, if you will, in
Yeah.
terms of filmmaking. So I would rather use some unconventional light than go and buy some super expensive whatever light. It's it's not the bad, it's the boy, right? It's not, if I don't know how to use the expensive stuff, it's whatever. So I can use that in a way that it just feels natural, which I do.
Absolutely.
Which I like to do that. That's the fun part for me. Like in the bike with the lights on the car, on the lights on the bike. That's the light.
That's right. There's little string lights on it. Yeah.
We were like, we need some lights. Okay, let's string some lights. Oh, I have some here.
Yeah. And you chose probably to stop where there's a street light, which I've talked to many filmmakers who have learned you can get beautiful lighting.
Beautiful.
In the environment.
It's like that
if you know how to look for it.
I guess, kind of vibe where you're just using where you're at. And that's how I teach acting too. That's how I approach acting is you're alive in the environment in which you're in. Right. So if you go to an audition and it's like this, or you use these things, you don't touch their stuff or whatever. But if there's a ladder in the middle of the room, what?
You throw your gum at them.
At 6, yeah. Oh. But you use what's there. You don't ignore it's there. You use it because it will help you. Trying to ignore the elephant in the room or something, you just use it. And it's hard for people to do. That people want to be perfect. And I'm very fortunate that I don't have a perfection complex in that way. I'm not a perfectionist because I see it derail people and it messes you up. It puts a cap on your artistic freedom. That's when you go into results. If you're trying to get a result, you're never going to explore what's out there and what could possibly be. And that's a hard lesson to teach people because they just want to know exactly, the actors, they want to know exactly what I'm supposed to do with a checklist of all the things. It's you're not going to get that. You can't, it's not your business what the other actor brings to the table when you do a chemistry read. It's not your business. You can't say, which I have people say, they were saying it slow, so it didn't really help me. I'm like, that's not your business what they do. It's how you react to what they're giving you.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps you fresh. You're thinking of an idea. You're never going to get better if you're thinking that way. So a lot of the teaching I do is in that line of thinking versus here's a checkbox that you need to check.
Well, and you're giving them a dose of reality too, right?
Yeah,
Because you cannot prepare for an audition perfectly. You can't be like, all right, I will do everything. Because you don't, that casting agent, whoever's doing the casting, you can't get, even if you sat them down in advance and said, tell me exactly what you want.
Yeah.
They don't actually know. And and if they think they know, it's actually they know it when they see it.
They do.
And they don't know it before they see it.
People don't want to admit that. I mean, they don't want to acknowledge that. They want to think, I can fit into the box of what they need so I can book the job.
Yeah.
As soon as you do that, it takes you right out of ever booking the job, let alone booking the room, which is what's more important, is that person sees your talent and remembers you for something else. Most of the jobs I could name probably 10 where I didn't book the job I originally went in on. They called me in for another job, most of the time a bigger job, better job. But because I came in and did my thing, they remembered me for something else.
Exactly.
And people don't forget. Is amazing. They have these memories that they can just, I mean, it's wild. And it's part of their thing. They see thousands of actors. Probably what you do with the films and stuff. You see so many, but you remember the ones that bring something to you it's part of the job.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And look, a casting person, it's their job, right? The people paying them need them to bring some magic.
Absolutely.
And so they're looking for magic all the time. And you can't get, it's funny I'm calling it magic, but you can't get that if you're just, you have to just be your truest self and do your best performance. And then they see something in you that they can use elsewhere possibly. And maybe for that one.
Yeah.
And it's why you don't need to be upset if you don't get booked, because it doesn't mean you're not great. It just means they're looking for something.
Yeah.
And you never know what they're looking for. And truth is, they don't know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And no one knows.
They don't.
And it's painful. Mm-hmm. I understand. I have so much empathy for all artists, but I mean, actors deserve the most because they're the most dependent upon other people. I think. Mm-hmm. Like, when you're writing, you just have to write.
Yeah.
And if you write your story, then you can tell it.
Yeah. And it's great that I can do that now. And I feel like confident that it's exciting. It's like it's much more fulfilling than the other stuff. But no is part of what you're going to hear. Even when you're the greatest thing in the world and you end up whatever, no is you just get familiar with it. Get used to it. When you send off that tape now, it's out there. What's the next thing I'm doing?
Yeah.
Very difficult to do, though, because, these self-tapes now are a whole different ballgame.
Oh, yeah. Well,
For actors,
I won't risk our moving into how everything's changed because, and COVID really fucked that up, right? Because COVID made self-taping just so normal. And now it's like, now you don't even get to play off the people in the room. You don't get to, respond to their reactions.
No, you don't. Unless you have a
You
Zoom
used to
callback.
be in a room, though, right? Yeah, a callback. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's still commercial casting houses that call you in person. Your callbacks are in person. And I don't really look at the self-tape thing. Like, yes, there's a lot of old schooly where we worked really hard to have to get to a point where we don't have to pre-read, right? And it's kind of like where the newer people, you go in and you read for the assistant and then they pass you along to casting. People who are older, this is their complaint, is that I worked really hard and really long, so I don't have to do that. I go straight to producers. Now, we all have to just submit to casting. All that work we did to get there. But the good thing is, of course, the upside is we don't have to be on the 405 at 3 o'clock going to Santa Monica. The downside of the self-tape for newer people is that they're training for the tape. So when they get a chemistry read callback, they have no idea how to play with others. Because they're training for, I just need this audition to be great. So I know a ton of people that are real good at these self-tapes. They're amazing. You take them outside of that, they can't do anything.
Right, all their work's in isolation.
They're not training. They're not in class weekly. They're not doing the training. And it's hard to sell training to people that go, but that's not going to get me the job. I want to make the big money. And it's like, well, you could probably do a million other things that are going to make you money quicker than being an actor.
Yeah.
It's not like the odds. If you look at the odds, we're crazy to even be in the business, right? So that's part of it. So you just get people that are like, well, okay. And now you could also build your own reel based on stuff that you tape in class or tape with a coach, a monologue you did. I've signed people to agents based on the stuff that I've done in class. You couldn't build a reel before unless you had booked work.
Yeah.
You couldn't put on a monologue to show how good you can do a, thespian, Shakespearean something. Or
Hey, that's how most indie films cast. The people would just work for the tape.
yeah, well, that's
They do
fine.
student films for the tape, right? That was a big
Yes.
thing back in the day.
Which is still okay if you're going to get like USC or something. I mean, that's a elevated production. You're going to get good quality stuff, and I still encourage people to do that. When you're going to do something for no pay, do those because they have money. But now you can create your own thing and have momentum. Whereas before it was like you couldn't do that. You had to book work and you had to take whatever edit they did. So if you were in a scene and all, you're with a lead, like, you're with, say, Kiefer Sutherland on 24 or something, and all the footage is on him because he's the lead, even though you've got a lot of dialogue, they're going to cut to him more, but you still have to use that footage because that's all you got.
Yeah.
So you would build a reel based on the actual work that you did. Now it's different. So there's a lot of positives for actors with the self-tape stuff because
Yeah.
it's opened the door for a lot of things. I teach in Israel. I teach people in New York. I have them zooming in, and all of that is from COVID.
Right.
So they have access now.
Right. You're global. COVID made this global.
Yeah. So there's upsides to that part. If I looked at it just from my own experience, like, well, that's not fair. I had to work for 20 years to get a reel. Now you can make one in, a couple months. Well, things change. You got to adapt to it. That's
Everything changes.
how it works. So having a shitty attitude about it is not going to help you.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think we hit a nice point.
Okay, good.
We can wrap this sucker up.
Okay.
I assume we can throw in links to websites and social media and anything you want.
Sure.
I normally actually copy that. I don't know if you threw that in but anyway, we'll make sure that there's links in the show notes for people to click to check out your work and
That's great.
and classes, anything
yeah.
you want in there.
Yeah.
We can find somewhere on YouTube is one of your commercials with
Yeah.
with.
There's a few.
I almost said Woodsy Owl, but it was McGruff. McGruff, the crime-fighting dog. That's just so funny. It's just funny to me that I'm talking to someone. I'm like, I surely saw that. There's no way I didn't.
Do you remember the Punky Brewster Just Say No campaign with Nancy Reagan?
Yes, but I was old enough to be so cynical about it. But I do remember when there was a very special episode.
That was a very special episode. Let me tell you, I was trying to get Punky to do lots of drugs on that show.
You were
I was the
bad girl.
girls, yes. One of the bad girls.
So blonde was bad and brunette was good.
Oh yeah, her and Cherry, who I still talk to.
I never saw an episode of that show.
Oh well, that's probably.
I was
good.
a little,
a little too old for Punky Brewster. But it was
Probably.
one of those like Nancy Reagan coming to the set, and it was like mind blowing. All the Secret Service.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible, and that dare to keep kids off of drugs. And at that point, I was too young. And very soon, everyone made a joke of the Dare program.
It. Yeah.
Yeah, it was right in that. Let's keep America Reaganized.
Oh yeah. In fact, it's crazy to think, but Reagan was still president when I started college. Right, I think so. Wasn't he 80 to 88? Yeah, and then Bush Senior was 88, and then Clinton was 92. Anyway, I am wasting your time.
No,
All right.
you're not. It's all
Yes,
good.
we don't have to talk about.
Okay.
But I will. But it was yeah. It turns out Just Say No. What may not have been the most effective way.
No, I don't think so.
I'm more of an honesty person. I'm like, don't do them till you're done with college. You need your brain while you're in college.
This is true.
So, I tried everything. It was interesting when the kid was like, "Did you ever?" And I was like, "I have a policy. I won't lie to you, but I can tell you, I didn't do it till after my last final of college."
Oh, wow.
But anyway.
That's big.
But I'm not naming the drug. So anyway.
That's okay.
Anyway, although I did just give Okay, I'm going to wrap up. First, thank you, Alyson.
You're welcome.
Alyson Croft, for everyone who wants to look you up on IMDb.
Yeah.
We could even link that
Okay.
in the show notes. And if you go to the show notes, you'll see that the website for this podcast and everything that grows out of it is discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFwins. A little over a year ago, I quit social media like a soft quit. I've only posted like 3 times in the last year, and I try not to look at it, but I get pulled in now and then. But I'm off social media. This is my way of saying, if you write to the Discover Indie Film podcast on social media, my wonderful podcast producer Karina will be the one who replies to you, because my life's just better if I don't. By the way, I get addicted to pets. That's my thing. Is rabbits and guinea pigs and huskies. But I could lose half an hour to an hour of my life watching animals.
Squirrels. I watch squirrels.
Yeah. Oh, squirrel.
He's my favorite. Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm not on social media. So that's discoverindiefilm.com. If you go to discoverindiefilm.org, that is the nonprofit that runs 2 film festivals in the LA area. Sherman Oaks Film Festival every December, Film Invasion Los Angeles every June. They're both ranked in the top 100 best reviewed festivals worldwide by filmmakers out of 14,000 in the world. So I'm just saying, go to discoverindiefilm.org to learn about the festivals. And from there, I think you can link to their social medias and stuff. I don't name it all anymore because there's too. But I will add that I always call those 2 sister festivals, and they got a cousin was born last month, or in January of 2026, we held the first ever Film Invasion Lima in Peru. A wonderful team down there ran it. Thank you, Pilar and Chevy. You guys kick ass. And it was great. We're doing it again next year, so there we go. There's a 3rd festival, but I'm not the festival runner. I just run Sherman Oaks Film Festival and Film Invasion LA, because really, I'm too busy on that. All right. Thank you, Alyson.
Thank you, Jeff.
And thank you, everyone, for listening.